Mr. Ramirez, I'd like to begin by asking some questions about the Commission's investigation of Google, which closed in early 2013. As you know, the investigation focused on allegations that Google had engaged in anti-competitive conduct by favoring Google products and services in search results. The Commission concluded that any preference Google gave to its own content, and quote, likely benefited consumers, unquote, and improved the quality of search results. Now, I'd like to ask about three developments that have occurred since the Commission closed its investigation. First, last year, the Wall Street Journal uncovered an August 2012 Bureau of Competition staff report that seems to contradict the Commission's findings. Among other things, the staff report found that Google, quote, has strengthened its monopolies over search and search advertising through anti-competitive means and has forestalled competitors and would-be competitors' ability to challenge those monopolies, unquote. Second, last year, the Commission's former chief technology officer, NYU professor Tim Wu, published a study in which he examined whether Google's local search algorithm, which favors Google-administered content, provides better benefits for consumers than search results presented in an unbiased manner. Professor Wu found that consumers were significantly more likely to engage with search results that are presented in an unbiased manner, leading him to conclude that, quote, Google is degrading its own search results by excluding competitors at the expense of its users, unquote. Third, earlier this year, Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes and D.C. Attorney General Carl Racine sent a letter to the Commission expressing concern about potential anti-competitive conduct by Google in both the desktop and mobile spaces. Now, I ask unanimous consent that this letter be entered into the record, Mr. Chairman. This letter should be entered.
Without objection.
Okay. European antitrust authorities have also opened investigations into whether search result manipulation by Google is harming consumers. Now, I'm interested to know what the Commission's response is to these developments. First, what is your reaction to the Wu study? Have you considered reopening your investigation into Google's alleged manipulation of search results in light of the study's findings? And second, have you considered looking into reports of anti-competitive behavior by Google in the mobile space, something that was not part of the Commission's initial inquiry? And third, how do you explain the apparent discrepancy between the Bureau of Competition staff report and the Commission's findings that Google's practice of favoring Google products and services likely benefits consumers?
Mr. Chairman, let me start by addressing the decision to close our investigation against Google with regard to its search practices. Let me correct the record because I think there were a number of misimpressions created by some of the press reports that you are referring to. So first of all, the decision to close that investigation was a unanimous one. 5 members of the Commission, 3 of us Democrats, 2 Republicans, we all concluded that there was no basis to proceed. We did not find there to be a violation of the antitrust laws. There was regretfully an inadvertent disclosure of certain internal documents, but what I can tell you is that our conclusion was in fact consistent with the recommendation that had been made by our Bureau of Competition staff. It was also consistent with recommendation by our Bureau of Economics staff and also consistent with recommendation by our General Counsel's office. So any press reports to the contrary are just flatly wrong. I'm afraid that I can't get into details of what we've been doing since. I am aware of the concerns that you've articulated, and I am, of course, aware also of more recent developments. But what I can assure you is that we are absolutely vigilant when it comes to the practices of Google or any other company, and if we see a violation, we will absolutely not hesitate to take action. But I'm afraid that I can't go into really any more detail.
Can you give your reaction to the Wu study?
Well, I am aware of it. Again, I can tell you that if we find a violation, we will act, but I can't go into any detail. I'm happy to provide you with more information in writing, but I'm afraid just I can't get into the specifics of particular company practices.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.